everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. In this video I wanted to chat about a brand that really is top-notch when it comes to eyeshadow formulas. Like, they make some of my favorite palettes. I feel like if you're really into eyeshadow, if you consider yourself an eyeshadow connoisseur, this will be a brand that you try and are so impressed by. They've done some beautiful palettes in the past. They've got a couple of new ones that are coming out with their July sale, so I thought I would chat about that a little bit. Sydney Grace was nice enough to send me the palettes, which I thought was so cool, the new ones that they've come out with, but I wanted to mention this sale. It's their Christmas and July sale. There's like 8 days of deals, different things you can look at, all linked to the portion of the website that outlines everything. But within this sale, there's the launch of 2 new palettes, and on certain days you can save on those palettes specifically. Like on the first day of the sale, which was Monday, they released the Cozy Cafe palette, and the deal was if you make a purchase of more than $58 on their website, you get this palette for free. And you might be thinking, well, that's nice for one day, Em, but you missed that day. Yes, this is still available, and actually on Friday, all palettes are 40% off, which is a great deal. But this is Cozy Cafe. This is the light version of it. That's what they sent me. Deeper versions, when you see like the light and dark option, usually they'll take some basic neutrals and shift them deeper just a little bit. They do make that shift to make the eyeshadow palette even more ideal for different skin tones, which I think is cool. But this has the big mirror. Yeah, the shade names are so cute. Like, you got cinnamon latte, you've got a good book, you got soup of the day down here. I love it. I did a really classic look with this, but I love how there's little nuances in the shades. Like, you look at this one called Toasted Bagel here and you think, is it antique gold? But actually, is there maybe just a little sliver of green in that? This one called People Watching, you know, it's pinky, but it's also golden. The shimmers that they make will always be these buttery, smooth, richly pigmented shimmers. There will not be a question of, like, is that going to wear well on me? Is that going to be easy to apply? Like, it's going to apply with full pigment. They're very reliable. And then the mattes, you know, are never kicking up too much dust, but yet they're super duper pigmented. But I just enjoyed the classic neutrals. You can kind of look row to row and think, maybe I'll just do a row of this, or a row of more rosy colors, or maybe the coolest option. But all in all, kind of a cool neutral vibe there. And then the other new palette that they've come out with is called Desert Bloom, and it looks like this on the outside, and this one, ooh, my warm loving self really falls into this one. And at a glance, it reminds me so much of Unbreakable Bond, and I will pull that up and show you. They do have some similarities, but all in all, not exactly the same kind of palette. But this one's kind of interesting because it's got just a really large amount of matte, warm, neutral basics. The only shimmers are here, 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 and up here, and everything else really gives you a nice wardrobe of those soft matte neutrals, light to mid tones to deep colors, everything you need to create that gradient. I've always enjoyed the way Sydney Grace puts together a palette because I really value having that nice balance of light, medium, and dark. Not maybe just one dark shade, but some options in that range. I want enough mid-tones. I want enough mid-tones that are close together so you can get that buildable, easy gradient on the eyes, blending one shade into the next and not feeling like one shade's over here and one shade's over there. So that's a really cool to see in here. I love some navy. You've got matte down here. This shimmer, oh, and look at this shimmer down in the corner, the one called Green Oasis. Like, how unique is that shade? That deep, shimmery forest green. You just don't see that in a lot of places. Desert Bloom, just kind of focusing on the shimmers for now here. That beautiful copper, but it's got some brightness to it, some real life to it. And then Velvet Sands up in the corner is going to give you that glow that would actually be beautiful as a face highlight as well. But everything else besides those 4 is going to be a really nice matte basic. This is the one I'm going to use today because, like I said, this is the one going on sale on Thursday. This is going to be free with a $58 purchase. And then again, Friday, all the palettes are 40% off. But before I get to the tutorial, I thought I'm going to mention what else is on my face, what I'm starting with here, and also reference a few other really good palettes from Sydney Grace in case you are wanting to make a purchase in this sale and kind of just see what's good from the brand. There's a lot that I really haven't dug into from this line. I have tried. They sent me some cream shadows, and I used one of these the other day, and I thought it was super pretty. The one called Valiant Defender. It's like a soft golden shade, and I easily blended it all over my lid and just wore it that way all day. Like, let it it softly blend out through the crease, but it was all over my lid, and I thought, wow, that actually is very long wearing. But my expertise in this brand is the palettes. So anyway, what's on my face? I use this Hourglass Veil Hydrating Skin Tint. I have it in the shade 9. It was sent to me in PR, and when I first got it, I was like, oh, this shade's a little deep, but it's perfect for me now. I got a little bit of a tan going, so I'm kind of trying to seek out those things in my collection that I once thought were a little on the dark side. So I've got that on. That's very sheer coverage, okay? So that's on all over, but then I threw on a concealer that could really get some things done. And this is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear. I wear that in the shade Ivory. So I've got that on the under eye and around the nose. I set that with the Infallible Blurfection in the light pink shade. All over my skin to set a little bit more, I used my e.l.f. Halo Glow Powder Filter. That's in light neutral. Trying to keep it neat and put away as I go. My brows are the LA Colors Browy Wowie pencil in medium brown, which actually is pretty good. And then my Maybelline Brow Fast Sculpt in medium brown. I did prime my eyes already with the Wet n Wild Mega Last Eye Primer. And also for my face colors, this is another Sydney Grace palette. And this one always like lives up here among a little display of palettes that I keep handy. It is a great multitasker called Luminous Light. And it comes in, I believe, 3 different shade options. And I like the light one for me. This bronzer, I've got that on all over. Beautiful highlighter. Like absolutely can go the distance if you want it to in an intense way, but shears out to be the most beautiful pearl. Not a fleck of sparkle to be found. Like it completely shears out to the point where you're just seeing a gentle sheen. I mean, I've got that on, and as you can see, it's nothing loud. I have on Love Struck blush, which this is a softly shimmery blush. It's super pretty. And this one down here called Sweet Pea, that actually gives a beautiful, more intense than you think it's going to be, like rosiness. I actually went over the top of everything with a little bit of Sweet Pea just to kind of merge all that shimmer together. And I thought, wow, that's really pretty. But this is a great little travel palette too. It has the mirror in there. Sometimes, honestly, the only reason I don't take it to travel with it that much is because I don't want anything to happen to it. It really is one of my favorite multitasking face palettes. And then in terms of eye palettes, I was going to compare Unbreakable Bond to Desert Bloom for you. So this is what the Unbreakable Bond looks like. That's been out for a couple years now. And you look at it and you can see that warmth and also down to the navy, and it makes you think, is that just like Desert Bloom? It's got a little more rosiness compared to Desert Bloom. Can you see that? Up in the top corner, you're getting into berry and more like dusty rose. This one actually goes into blue and green just a little bit more with like 3 different bluish tones and also an olive. And here, you just got a couple bluish things down in that corner. You've got some great neutral basics in this one, but I mean, I really see the differences as I study them side by side. Both are good in terms of some matte basics. This gives you more shimmer. This is a 16 shade palette, and out of the 16, 7 are shimmers, only 4 shimmers in this one. But both are great options. This is probably always going to be one of my faves from Sydney Grace. From matte basics to warmth with a little something unexpected in the blues, like I just love what they did there. Another favorite that came out a little more recently is the Unveiled palette by Kendra Matthews. So Kendra is a makeup artist who does a lot of bridal work, and she came up with a brilliant palette here where if you're really talking about looking at the rose, you can see 3 really good directions you could go, and I adore the balance in this one. There's a lot of richness over here, okay? But you've got the perfect amount of midtones. This echoes everything I've said about the fact that they keep their shimmers so buttery and smooth and pigmented. Nothing's at risk of getting flaky on you or flaking off, falling out in terms of like fallout on your cheeks. That's just not going to happen in anything I've tried. But beautiful mid-tone basics for just an easy, everyday, soft look if you're kind of focusing in on this section. But I love the drama that's available. And again, you're looking at the light options for both of these. They come in a deep as well. And then I wanted to mention these seasonal ones. These are really fun. A couple of my faves are the Eastern Fall and Southern Spring. Eastern Fall is fun if you want like a little smaller palette and maybe like a snapshot of what's going on with the Unveiled palette. It's a little louder with the reddish tone, but then you've got all these great basic brownish neutrals, and the shimmers are here, here, and here. And then Southern Spring is great for those who enjoy enjoy, let's call it some muted color options, because you're getting like mauves, plum, beautiful olives down here. I can't stress it up. Those are so great. So if that appeals to you, that's still included in the sale. I like how they put out special things like these year to year, and they continue to be part of the line for quite some time, it seems like. Sorry for those of you who are itching for me to get into the tutorial already, but I just wanted to give you some background if you were wanting either some ideas for what would be good to get in the sale, just some comparisons, some context, but I'm very enthused about the new palettes they've put out. Of the two, like I've used them both. I've gotten into even the darkest part of this Cozy Cafe palette, and I thought it was exceptionally easy to work with. But these are your cool basic neutrals with a little pop of rosiness, and I think it's super fun. I can really get into that. But Desert Bloom probably has captured me just a little bit more. Like I said, this big string of matte warm neutrals and then getting into the navy. I'm going to be working with some of that navy today for sure. But the neat thing is I can set up my look with some of the warmth, and it's going to look so pretty. Sydney Grace knows there is a beautiful pairing involved where warm meets navy. So I'm gonna first take some of this Sunset Petals color right up here, pick some of that up with my Profusion crease brush. Sydney Grace does make brushes, like I said, cream shadows. I have not dug in quite deep enough to every different thing, but what I really love are the palettes. And I feel very fortunate that they sent me these little masterpieces. And even if they hadn't, I have no doubt I would have sought them out on my own. So there's that shade, just working in very gently into the crease and above. Sunset Petals. Nice big mirrors in these palettes. Just one of those lines where the quality is not even a question. It's about what is your color scheme. There will be people who will go much more toward Cozy Cafe than this warmth, and that's cool. I'll try to work in a Cozy Cafe tutorial soon. But oh, I love working with these warm shades. Now I want to pull a little bit lighter from that. I'm going to go over here to Desert Sunburst. The way you can just shift between these mattes. There's so much matte in this palette. And you can just get your look seeming so buffed out, so smooth. And everything is high pigment, little goes a long way, but you don't have to be scared of it. Then I'm gonna go to Frozen Canyon, so that's right over here. I also liked Rough Terrain when I was using this palette the other day. That was a nice kind of on the edge type of color. But this is your lightest matte. And I'm just letting some of that come straight up under my brow. I heard a kitty cat in here. I know she was back behind me for some of it. Now I'm thinking I would like even more richness with the warmth. So where can we go? I might look down at this row and maybe take this shade or this shade. Let's take this one called Tumbleweed Trail. Again, it's all matte. Everything I've used so far. We're wedging that just really with the same brush. We're getting it right there into the deepest part of the crease, focusing this shade slightly more to the outside than the inside, really getting kind of a fiery warmth out of this color. That terracotta is so pretty. I mean, this really makes me think summer. Going into fall for sure, you know? Love that vibe. Love a summer into fall transition, not just in eyeshadow palettes, but just environmentally too. Enjoy that seasonal change. Okay, here's some thunder in the distance this morning. Okay, great. We've got a great setup here. Now we're really going to dig into some of these beautiful navy tones. Going to be taking my Morphe M303, and I think, gosh, there's so much beauty in these three. That green oasis is one of a kind, but I do want some of the sunrise overlook to kind of get things going. Maybe I go here and I bring it into this. Yesterday I used some of that. Sunrise overlook, we're going to the matte navy, getting a little bit on the brush, and we're going to start tapping that here on the outer corner. We're on the lid. This brush, I'm learning it's a really good cut. See that? Tell me the orangey tones and navies weren't just meant to be together. Hey, that's like the school colors in this town. The cheerleaders need this palette. Oh, it's an experience using these palettes. When you dip into something and you know every shade is going to just rock. Every shade is going to present ease. You can just have fun. Look how I just dabbed that in. And now I'm going to go to the same shade with my small pointed brush just to work this in an even more precise way here for the outer corner. Yep, we're just adding a little more shadow and focusing on that shape, making sure it's coming up, raising up a little bit above that crease so we're getting lift. Ooh, navy. It's got to be a pretty darn good navy to feel this easy. Smashbox, I remember, you'd get that kit for brown eyes and it'd have some blues and some rich navies. The look looks pretty just right now, how it is, but we're going to be adding in some more things. Oh, this little navy haze that's just coming in and merging with the warmth. Perfect. Now I'm going to take a brush that's a little bit smaller, gives me a little more control on the lid, but basically the same shape, just smaller size, M202. 302, as opposed to the larger 303. And I want to see a little bit of green oasis coming in. It is so rich, guys, like it's dark. But it's bringing some green. It's giving us a little sheen. It's the green sheen. Ooh, that's cool. It's murky, it's rich. I love it. I want to see some of the lightest shimmer come in and slightly overlap what's happening with this green and see what happens. So you might notice I'm saving just a little bit of the inner lid for that. Belle has started choreography this week with her cheer squad. Had a real late practice, so they bring in the choreographer, and in like a week's time he's got to work with all these different teams. Just creating that routine right then and there, you know. It's the kind of thing where I'd love to just be sitting in the corner overhearing it all. But they're long practices. They pack a lunch. Us parents have all like donated snacks and stuff. It's quite a thing. Okay, I'm going to Velvet Sands. I cleaned off this brush. Let me make sure I cleaned it off enough. There's a lot of pigment in that last shade. So this has shimmer, and I'm interested to see how it's going to kind of overlap onto that greenish shade we just put on. Did I tell you there's pigment? There's just immediate pigment. And that's looking really pretty as it starts to top off that very dark shimmery green. It's giving it a little different look. I love that. Hi, Biddy.
Hey, Mom.
How you doing, sweet pea?
Good. Be proud of me. I went to bed without complaint, without nookie.
Yes, you did. Hey, look at my pretty palette I have.
Ooh.
Do you like it? Yeah. I'm thinking, do I want to do anything with the lower eye? A really good shadow stick, and I think I mentioned this in my last video where I was just referencing the fact that I had this on. A good shadow stick is this Laura Geller Kajal Longwear in Ocean Blue Coal. It's pretty rich, looks really good. I'd like to see actually maybe a little coppery warmth come out on the lower lash line with some cold brew, and then maybe I'll just blend one of the shades in with it a little. Cold brew's so pretty. So I look immediately smudged and finished there, don't I? I just think Sydney Grace is one of those brands for the person who really cares about the eyeshadow formula, really wants to feel like they're using the best, and wants to see that palette and think, okay, I'm just choosing based on the colors I like because I know the quality is going to be perfect. Ooh, I just had an idea. What if I take the Laura Geller and put that on the inner rim lower? This is really showing me how the greenish shimmer has turned the look more greenish than navy, but it's really brightening the whites of my eyes having this navy in here. I'm into it. And then I might just use that up on the upper lash line. Just a little smudgy smudge. Okay, gang, that's the eye look for today. I really like this palette. I think it's so much fun. I think it's loaded with neutral, warm, matte basics, but with pops that really are iconic and matter and make a difference. This could have been a really loud punch if we wanted to go there. I know this deep dark brown is beautiful if you wanted to anchor your look and steer clear of the navy one day, like you can do that. So I'm into it. I'm gonna finish the look with some mascara and add a lip, and I'll be right back. Okay, friends, here is the finished eye look. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I love that little pop on the inner lid that's kind of lighting up that greenish shimmer a little bit. I think that's so cool, like how it fades into navy blue, like how Biddy's just hanging out back here. She's got a new PJ. These kids in their loungewear, like we're always finding it on sale too, like $8 for that set. at Walmart. So as for the rest of the eye, all I added was the Lash Paradise Big Deal on the upper lashes and e.l.f. Lash Extender on the lower lashes. And then for my lips, I really wanted to play off of the warmth that's part of the eye look, so I used my Milani Understatement Lip Liner. This is in the shade Cinnamon Statement, I believe. So that's where that whole color's coming from. And then a little creamy shine here from the Tower 28 Lip Softy Dolce de Leche. We feeling it? Do you like this look, Biddy?
Yes.
Did you even really look at the look?
All
right, so that's where we're at. And don't forget, I've also got Sydney Grace on the cheeks as well, and I just feel like everything came together so nicely once that lip got on. I'm just seeing it all mesh together. So thank you for your time, friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope if you didn't know a lot about Sydney Grace, this gave you some ideas. They've got tons of other great palettes that I enjoy but didn't mention here because we'd just be here all day. So let me know in the comments section if you've got any favorites, and I'll see you guys again very soon. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.